Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spock coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We are wrapping up this week's Marvel books. We've already covered the X-Men as well as Spider-Man and Marvel Knights. We're wrapping things up with this week's Avengers books as well as our miscellaneous books and, well, Star Wars. Kicking things off, we've got Black Panther number 7. Where we left off, Akili, the commander of the Tuzarazi, had engineered a coup and had taken control of Wakanda while Black Panther was investigating assaults on some of his well, Black Panther was dismantling his sleeper agent program after members of the program had been killed in various attacks. However, Black Panther's revelation of the sleeper agent program had basically gotten him in a bit of hot water, and he was forced to flee from the Tuzarazi, enlisting the aid of eventually Storm, as well, courtesy of his sister, and now the Dora Milaje. So, in the capital, Akili is monitoring his troops in the field, and the Prime Minister realizes that ceding power to Akili for this emergency was not a good idea, and she leaves, but eventually gets to the Parliament building and issues a statement over the emergency broadcast system, telling what's happened, while T'Challa and the Dora Milaje negotiate. In the mute zone village of Ziera, the residents, including a young man named Tosin, are listening to the statement from the Prime Minister just before Tuzarazi bursts in to take her and one of her staff members into custody. However, they're saved by Tosin, and the Dora Milaje agree to work with help T'Challa, and Shuri has a plan. She gets into the city as a flock of birds, has to deal with some of the Tuzarazi, sadly, but is saved by Tosin. Storm and T'Challa have a chat about things, and Storm informs him that for everything she cannot forgive him, and that she is sorry for that. Tosin brings Shuri to Mute Zone, where the Prime Minister is waiting. And Shuri informs T'Challa that they're in. Plans are somewhat changed, and they've got a small group that can cause problems within the city. And that is where the issue ends. The story is definitely getting interesting, and one of the things that is brought up quite a bit is that T'Challa actually has stated that, yeah, he's not going to seek leadership of the country if he manages to save it from Akili and the Tuzarazi. So, be interesting to see how that plays out. Moving on to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel number 39. Where we left off, Binary was operating on Earth in Carol's absence, while Carol appeared to be elsewhere with no knowledge of her previous life, and ended up in a portion of liminal space with Agatha Harkness, the Enchantress, and Scarlet Witch, all there waiting for her. So it turns out that Carol's on trial for removing O's magical gifts. The tribunal, which is more of a quintunal, but consisting of Satana, Alriac, the King of the Snatmen, Brother Voodoo, and Magic. Carol makes a point of stating that Ove, in the future he was from, had used an apocalypse to his own for his own uses, including keeping Magic bound and imprisoned and bound. But as there's no evidence of these crimes that he is yet to that have not yet occurred, well, he's not going to be tried by this group. But turns out that her that at the very least, the fact that Carol is a hero and tries to do the right thing is part of why she's even having a trial. And if she's found to be, well, she's not suited for the job of for being a hero, protector of people, then she'll be replaced. But she awakes again on an alien world, no clue, no memory of who she is, and once again fights a dragon, killing it. Only this time, there's a baby dragon. Back on Earth, Jessica Drew has a moment where she thinks she sees Carol as she's about to sit down for a sub, but it's in fact Binary having disguised himself as Carol. Binary promptly eats Jess's sandwich, trying to explain, and they try to figure out. Jess has figured out a way to figure out whether or not, or to explain to Binary that whether or not she's Carol Danvers is complicated. But they're soon attacked by what appears to be a group of day-walking vampires. Though Carol is definitely trying to, or Binary is trying to ensure that she doesn't hurt anyone too much, pulling her punches when L'Oreal shows up, demanding to know where Carol is. And that is where the issue ends. Quite interesting. Of course, the Snapmen have to be mentioned once again. But yeah, the current arc is definitely interesting. I keep saying I'm really loving Kelly Thompson's run on Captain Marvel. It's a really good arc. It's been a really good run, and I hope that it goes on for quite some time. Moving on to our next book, we've got Savage Avengers number 3. Where we left off, the Savage Avengers were in the Hyborian Age, as was Deathlock, and they formed a plan to capture Deathlock so that they could get back to the present. They lure him to a Temple of the Beast yeah, as the beast that the Hand worships. And Elektra has a plan. Cloak pulls Deathlock into his cloak and drops him, and then Dagger fires light arrows, having learned what she can truly do with her abilities. Agent Anti-Venom fights Deathlock, as does Black Knight, who's been analyzing the energy signature of Deathlock to find a countermeasure. Deathlock tries to use gamma energy to recharge, and Weapon H is able to absorb it, however, and turn red. When and Deathlock and Conan have a duel. Deathlock is badly damaged, and Daredevil, Elektra, uses her knowledge of the Hand's necromantic rights to seemingly take control of to try to take control of Deathlock when False of Doom shows up, and pits the Savage Avengers against some of their worst fears. But Deathlock is having a hard time of all the things that are going on in his head at the moment. And there's a sudden explosion, and both Deathlock and Conan are gone. Elsewhere, Deathlock looks into a pool of water and sees a reflection of Miles Morales, seemingly hinting that this Deathlock is in fact a future version of Miles Morales. That is where the issue ends. It's about time that this book started to actually get interesting. I mean, it still feels just like the shameless attempt to keep on utilizing the Conan character after, with Marvel soon to be losing the publication rights for the character. But it means that the book's okay. I'm enjoying it. And I'd likely only be angry if it ended prematurely. If the current story at the time was left dangling. So yeah. Moving on to our next book, we've got Fantastic Four number 45, the conclusion of the Reckoning War. We open at the Baxter Building. The Thing arrives. He's greeted by his wife and children, and he explains what happened. So an hour previously on the Watcher homeworld, Galactus the Destroyer showed up to consume the planet. A coalition of cosmic heroes had arrived. Guardians, Thor, the Unparalleled, the Heralds of Galactus, Beta Ray Bill, even the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. But it turns out that the Watcher is basically pulling all of the knowledge of the Watchers into himself. And Mr. Fantastic utilized the Ultimate Nullifier to stop the Uncrowned Crystal Bomb from going off. Turns out, though, that kind of the cost of that is that he lost his the Watcher knowledge that was slowly killing him. It was destroyed by the It was destroyed by the nullifiers, as well as stopping the reckoning. Um, the bomb that the reckoning set up, however, is then taken by the Silver Surfer and Human Torch and chucked into the gaping maw of the Galactus Destroyer. And Galactus is then reborn. And Uatu is now the only Watcher. And he opts to set everything back the way it was, and also the Barons are no longer blocked off. Jack of Hearts is returned. Galactus hungers for knowledge of these new borderlands, and so, but he needs a guide or a companion, perhaps, and the Silver Surfer opts to do so. However, Human Torch is not happy to learn that losing the Watcher knowledge means that now Mr. Fantastic can't remember how to reverse Johnny's condition, allowing him to flame off. The Mcron crystal is returned to its proper place, and Cormorant sides of Joff and Mott within the crystal are Ruin, Rapture, and Emnu. Franklin and Valeria are stuck on outside of Forever Gate, which had been built in the thought space by Valeria. With Franklin deciding he wants to make a change, do something different. He wants to have black hair. Apparently, Moon Knight and Squirrel Girl blew up the Badoon's Death Star ship all by themselves. And Uatu fixes the moon just as it was, leaving Fury, his citadel, the old citadel of the Watcher, once again making him man on the wall, the unseen, and humanity's shield. And that is where the issue ends. This is, if I remember correctly, this is the next to last issue of Dan Slott's run on Fantastic Four. I'm not sure I'll pick up the next issue. FF's not really my thing. I might pop in to see how. I might at least flip through the first issue of the New Riders run, see what I think. But Reckoning War was interesting. My one major complaint is just that it feels like it should have been a much bigger story, not just an arc in Fantastic Four. This should have been an event, a Fantastic Four centric event, yes, but it should have been an event title. With Reckoning War, X-Men, Reckoning War, Avengers, so on and so forth. But oh well, not my decision to make. Moving on to our next book, we've got Captain Carter, number 4. Where we left off, Peggy was about to attack a group of terrorists with assist from Tony Stark, who in this reality is heavily augmented, cybernetically speaking. Turns out most of the operatives are somehow are strong enough to lay a smackdown on Peggy, but apparently burst into flame in the sunlight, and so Tony and Peggy leave. They go back to Harley's apartment where Elizabeth is sorting through all the details of leader of Strike's personal life, and we learn that apparently Betsy has her own issues, namely that she wants to try and prove that she didn't become a strike agent because of her name. While it seems quite a few people at the strike seem to think that's the case. They get a list of people that the strike director went to school with, and a lot of them travel in the same circles as Tony Stark. So Tony and Betsy go to talk to one of them that Tony has an in with, and breaking news has come up that apparently that Peggy Carter is wanted for multiple murders of multiple strike agents, revealed in a press conference with the Prime Minister, who is also strike director, if I remember correctly. The woman that Peggy was following turns out to be none other than Lady Jacqueline Falsworth. Tony's contact, however, has been gone for a while. Tony and Betsy go to investigate, and the guy jumps off a roof, saying he's being made to. Doing some research, they found a picture of Falsworth's mother and Falsworth's father, who appear to all be. And Falsworth's father looks just like Prime Minister Williams. Peggy slips out while Tony, Harley, and Betsy figure out what to do next, and goes after the Prime Minister on Downing Street. But Strike was waiting on her, and Peggy states exactly what it is that what it is that the Prime Minister is: a vampire. Which, yes, in fact, he and presumably also Lady Falsworth is. And that is where the issue ends. Definitely a fun mini so far. I think this is actually supposed to be the next to last issue, so. But I'm enjoying it. The alternate versions of certain characters are nice. I'm liking. I like normal Marvel Universe Betsy Braddock, but I'm also liking this version too. It's a nice little nice little variant, so to speak. Anyway, moving on to our last book, we've got Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 25. Where we left off. Tonga and her team of bounty hunters had raided the rebellion and were face to face with none other than the Knights of Ren. Bosk isn't liking this at all, and the battle is quickly joined. With Tassu deciding to go head to head with Ren himself. Back on the Edgehawk, oh God, what was her name? Oh Jesus! The leader of the Unbroken Clan attacks. Has gotten loose. While elsewhere on Karita, Valance is having his organics prepared. He has apparently saved a large number of Imperial officers who are quite happy with him. However, his liaison officer, is informed that the planet that Cordelia, the rebel base that Cordelia was hiding in, was attacked by the Empire with no survivors. The battle between the bounty hunters and the Knights of Ren is something of a draw, but it's kind of it's explained. Various characters state throughout that walking away from a fight with the Knights of Ren is kind of a win in and of itself. And the leader of the Unbroken clan tracks down her prey within the Edgehawk, who's seemingly cornered herself. And of course, also in the room that the two are seemingly alone in, is a Nexu. And the issue ends with the bounty hunters making their way further through the Vermilion as the Knights of Ren try to follow. Interesting. I'm really quite glad to see the Knights of Ren being fleshed out. I mean, the concept seemed really interesting way back in the sequel trilogy. It just sadly they really never did anything with it. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.